I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you probably don't need a sketchbook.
The Art of You, Ink Volume 1, is a collection of 48 ink drawings, including works not found on the web. Use the link to grab your copy today.
Now, being a young artist, I wish I probably would have heard these tips because I always wanted like the best sketchbook. Like it just had to be like brand spanking new. And 90% of the time, I didn't even finish it. I never filled up any of my sketchbooks. Well, I take that back. As I progressed, I started to fill them up. And you're asking me, oh, you have a sketchbook right now? And you're talking about not having sketchbooks. I'm just gonna give you 5 reasons you don't need a sketchbook. Not saying you shouldn't have a sketchbook because obviously you do, but 5 reasons you don't need one if you're a beginning artist. Number 1, more freedom. You can pretty much do whatever you want to do and not feel like you're bound to a sketchbook. Don't think about messing it up. When you don't have a sketchbook and you just draw on loose leaf pieces of paper or on high quality Bristol board or any other thing, you're not thinking about, oh, I'm gonna mess this up. Because I know when I first had a sketchbook, I tend to think that like every drawing has to be a banger, like every drawing just has to come out like perfectly, when that's not the case. Every drawing you have isn't going to be perfect. That's the purpose of a sketchbook, but you don't need a sketchbook because there is more freedom you have without having one. Number 2, a presentation mindset. Now this is a big one for me because when I would be in a sketchbook, I would think to myself, okay, I'm just gonna draw a bunch of stuff, and if I want to make a final illustration or piece out of it, maybe I'll do it later, and then 90% of the time I just never get back to it. However, when I started working on Bristol board, and this is really pertaining to my style of art, I primarily do ink illustrations. You would probably call it comic booky kind of style, but I don't draw comic books, but that's kind of the vein of work that my things are in. I don't do a lot of painting, I don't do a lot of concept art, so I'm speaking from my perspective on a presentation mindset. Now when it comes to my pieces, I ink on paper a lot, and when I did it in a sketchbook, I didn't really think about presenting it at all because it was just in a sketchbook. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna draw a bunch of cool stuff and maybe post it. But when you have something that's on a separate sheet of paper or any other like canvas or thing, you have a presentation mindset rather than let's just draw a bunch of random stuff. Number 3, I would say heavier paper. Now in a sketchbook, you can get really thick paper stocks, but when I would be inking, I need a Bristol board. Like I primarily ink, and that's what I love to do. So getting out of my sketchbook allowed me to ink heavier. Blah, blah. I could put more ink on the paper outside of a sketchbook. That's what I'm trying to say. So when I didn't have a sketchbook, I was like, okay, let me go get some Bristol board, and let me just I'm just gonna load the ink up. I'm not gonna be hesitant because I think it's gonna bleed to the next page. Now I'm just gonna go for it. Number 4, you can cut the paper. Now when you have a sketchbook, you can rip it out and then scan it. This is kind of another side note to that bonus tip, is that you can actually scan when you have separate sheets of paper, and it doesn't affect you don't have any like warping or that little like gray fade as you would see if you were trying to like scan something in a sketchbook. You can scan it very cleanly. If I don't want to use the entire 11 by 17 aspect ratio, I would literally just cut it down the middle, or I would draw a line, and then therefore I have 2 pieces of paper. 5, it's a lot cheaper. When you have a bunch of paper in a pack, you just feel free, it's cheaper. You don't want to have it just bound up. That's one con of not having a sketchbook, is that it's not very portable to lug around a lot of paper. I mean, but you can have a portfolio and just lug the paper in that if you would like to, but 90% of the time I don't create my work outside of my home. Like I'm not necessarily going to a park to sketch or things like that. In that scenario, yeah, a sketchbook is great, but I tend to create more so at home. And if I do sketch, I'm probably sketching on some, I don't know, random cardboard at the job, or I don't know, because I've done that before. Or sketch somebody on some loose leaf piece of paper and just trash it. I've done that at work too, But having a sketchbook, a set sketchbook, I haven't really had a sketchbook. I don't even know. Oh, take that back. I barely use this, but after I've gotten out of my sketchbook, I've noticed that I've had more of a presentation mindset every time I create something or just draw something. And if I want to practice, I'll be in my practice mindset. But 90% of the time, I'm in that final piece mindset. Okay, well, how can I present this in a nice way It needs to have the best paper. I don't want limitations, because when I sketch something, 90% of the time I'm not going to draw it the same way. So I want to be drawing on a nice piece of paper. So if it is the one, I can just straight away ink it and not think about having to sketch it again. You lose a little bit of the life out of it for me when you have to trace something. I don't know, maybe it's just a mindset sort of thing. So this has been 5 reasons why you don't need a sketchbook. Of course, nothing's wrong with having a sketchbook whatsoever. The only person I can think of that benefits from literally having a sketchbook is Kim. Like, if you're on Kim's level, get all the sketchbooks you want and sell them babies. Kim is on a whole nother level. Like, I don't even know if you can call that a sketchbook. He calls it sketching. Those are masterpieces. Like, if you're on that level, heck yeah, you buy as many sketchbooks and sell them babies like hotcakes. I'm not on Kim's level, and that's not even close to my style. So I can't even really speak on that. This has just been 5 reasons why you don't need a sketchbook. Absolutely nothing wrong with sketchbooks, but just keep these into consideration as a young artist, or even a professional if you're watching this video. Don't be bound to a sketchbook. Of course, it's great for practicing, but also have a presentation mindset, and also get off the internet and just stay focused and create great works of art. That's it for this video. Hopefully you take something away from it. Thank you for watching. All praises to the Most High. Peace out. Shalom.